Hi everyone, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm Darryl, Agile Coach and Digital. Today we're going to talk to you about how to run a remote team kickoff and the importance of doing so. So we know that setting up an effective team can be hard. It can be even harder to build the bonds and camaraderie that are present in all great teams when yours is remote. So in this pack, we'll explain why investing time in setting up the remote team is important, as well as sharing advice and exercises on how to do this. So why is remote team setup different? When people are working remotely, there are a number of reasons it can be harder to set them up as a new team. There's less chance, for example, to have those informal water cooler chats or coffee chats and build those bonds. The teams can feel pressure to get the work done and not have had get to know each other sessions. So by having those remote team kickoffs, at least you feel like you've put some building blocks in place to get to know one another. And there's a technology problem. Obviously nowadays with the new technology with Zoom and video calls, etc., that it's not quite as bad as it used to be, but it can still be problematic and still not quite the same as being face to face. You haven't built that trust and rapport as yet. So if you don't have the team kickoff, then you're really not going to get that trust and rapport built within the team. So it's really important to do something like this to get teams working together and to collaborate together. Then finally, with everyone dispersed and not working in the same place, it can be hard to get the right people on board at the right time. Project sponsors, SMEs, business sign-off, really important. So by setting up your ways of working and being really clear about what the team should be doing and when, will allow you hopefully to mitigate any issues that might come up around this later on in the piece. So we know that new teams rarely work to their full potential immediately. Personal connections can take time to develop. That getting to know one another, that getting to understand people's strengths and weaknesses, understanding what they're good at, what they're not good at. And in fact, of Google's 5 characteristics of high-performing teams, a decent team kickoff can help to form bonds to develop 3 of those: psychological safety, structure to build collaboration, and insight on potential impact. So let's crack on and look at the importance of running a kickoff. So why is it key? So as mentioned previously, having connections and bonds create the best foundations of an effective team. There's that trust side of things. There's that getting to know one another and building those relationships. So the goals of a good kickoff session should be as follows: introducing and getting to know each member of the team, understanding the product or project vision. Why are you doing the work you're doing? What's the purpose here? What's the need of the product? And that background information about why. Defining your roles and responsibilities, understanding who's in charge of what and why they're in charge of it, who's signing off, who is the product owner, where their responsibilities lie, who's the scrum master, and the understanding of what the team is trying to do. Agree your flow of work and the ways of working, understanding how you get stuff to done, what tools you're using. Are you using Scrum? Are you using Kanban? Understanding the wider system the team will be working in, so the wider environment of the business. And then finally, the idea of the team kickoff is actually ensuring that you set the team up for success and actually you're able to deliver from the start. To achieve the goals of your kickoff, your team should be able to answer the following questions. Do you understand the project, the context of it, what you're building and why? Do you have a good handle of the work that's already been done? And if this is a new team kickoff, do you have an understanding of the market research that's been done so you understand why the product's being built and what the customer need is? Then what do you value as a team? And how do you want to be known as a team? Do you understand who is responsible for what? So the roles and responsibilities piece. Are we all aligned on our ways of working? Do we all feel that we understand how we're going to work and what we're doing and why? Do we understand how we want to be treated as a team? And finally, you don't need to do everything immediately. Time constraints can obviously dictate how long you can spend doing this. Some activities still activation phases could be 2 days, 3 days. But on this particular deck, we'll concentrate on a very short 2-hour session. So actually, 2 hours may well be enough. But if it's not, then agree to discuss what needs to be done at a later date, whether that be definition of done, definition of ready, team charter, etc. It's up for you as a team to discuss and work out what suits you. So before running a remote team kickoff, there's 3 things that we recommend you consider. Firstly, your agenda. What's the topic of conversation? What do you want to concentrate on in this session? For distributed or remote teams, it might be that you really want to discuss how to work together and which process will help you be more effective. Secondly, how many sessions are needed? It could be that actually you split it over a few days because actually that works better for the team and helps you to build that relationship up and to get things going as you move on and help those conversations flow. Finally, the duration. How long? We know that obviously remote training or remote sessions can be tricky. Studies proven that actually anytime you're sort of working and anytime over 30 minutes, then people lose that interest. So how are you best going to split that work? How can you make sure that there is that interest and that buy-in and that collaboration and everyone's engaged and wanting to contribute? Next, let's look at running the actual remote kickoff. So this here is a 2-hour session that we've put together as an initial team kickoff, and one that absolutely every team should do. So here, all team members attend. You need online whiteboard or similar, online documentation or similar, because you don't have the whiteboards and physical whiteboards. And obviously you need good video conferencing links, whether it be Zoom or whether it be Google Hangouts or a similar product. And within this, we'd split it the following. So 10 minutes, icebreakers, 20 minutes, understanding the product, the context and the challenges. Then 60 minutes, how you're going to deliver together, the processes, practices, the tools. And then finally, for the last 30 minutes, your roles and responsibilities. Who does what and when. Let's dig in a little bit more deeper to these sections. So your icebreakers. There's plenty of icebreakers out there, but here are 4 icebreakers that, as an Agile coaching team, we feel have been successful since we've been working remotely. Firstly is genie in a bottle. So very simple, ask each team what they would ask for if they had 3 wishes for the week. This can be work or personal related. In fact, when you're trying to build that relationship within the team, it's often nice to get a bit of a personal touch involved. So you might actually want to insist they're personal related. And then each person shares them with the rest of the group. Nice and simple. Secondly, what's in your household? Basically like a scavenger hunt, but for the team. So list of common household items, like a spoon, a knife, a fork, a plate, and then give them a minute to go and find those and bring them back. And the person who brings them back, all of them, wins. Obviously, be careful with this. We don't want people injuring themselves, but a nice, simple way of actually bringing that sense of collaboration, but that also that competition within the team. Another one might be stranger facts. So before before the session, each team member is asked to send you a random fact. Then during the icebreaker, you, the person who's leading the team kickoff, reads out each of the facts. And the team has to guess who sent in each fact. Again, a nice, easy way to get to know people on a personal level. Finally, generation game. Simple, 12 random items or random images, flashed on the screen, and each team member needs to try and recall the images they saw. And the person who remembers the most is the winner. Now, as I say, there's plenty more other icebreakers that actually you could use, but these are 4 that we've seen at work, but feel free to make your own up and let us know what you think. So next, let's look at the product context and challenges. So if the team doesn't understand the product and what it's being built for, then it's sometimes hard for the team to buy in and understand the why. So actually, you need normally as product sponsor to obviously be talking you through the product vision, discussing any challenges that could arise and share any data that's already available. But with the current circumstances, this may not be easy. So actually, it could be that you as a team or your product owner leading it gets to define this actually within this section. So you'll need to work together to cover the following points: your product vision, the why and the what, your target groups of customers, what are the customers you're aiming for and why are these the customers, any market research that will help you define that, any key dates and milestones that could have been made that are key to you delivering the work, any assumptions or decisions that have been made, and then on top of that, any potential delays or risks that you know are already exist and how you dependency map those. After this session, then your team will really understand of what the product is and what they're trying to achieve and why. And a good exercise to help you do that is to actually create a mural board or seminar with 3 different sections. Firstly, context. Secondly, challenges. Third, assumptions. Within those, you have subcategories for context, key dates, customer data, marketing information, competitor analysis, product priorities, and an organizational and team agile experience. And then as you work through all of these, you actually start as a team to start marking these with Post-its or sorry, the equivalent of Post-its within Mural, and actually start that conversation happening amongst the team. So you understand what the context, the challenges, and the assumptions actually are, and have that conversation and see how you can mitigate those and get everyone on the same page. Really important. We'll get everyone chatting about the product, getting them understanding the context, the challenges and the assumptions, and also bring everyone onto that level playing field, which is vitally important when you start a project off. Then next, the session about how you're going to deliver together. What are your frameworks? What are your processes? What are your tools? For your frameworks, then, is it Scrum? Is it Kanban? What are the reasons for choosing one or the other? Do you know that actually your product is fluid and actually you don't have all your requirements up front? And actually, because of that, it might be that actually you're better off sitting in a Kanban board. Or is it that actually you need a bit more structure, so then it will be Scrum? So it's about, again, having that conversation and putting sort of Post-its or the equivalent of Post-its into Mural or capturing your ideas in a collaboration tool to allow you to have that conversation. Same for your processes. Work out what your flow is, what you need to get from in progress or from the backlog, sorry, all the way through to done. What needs to happen? Who needs to be involved? Why do they need to be involved? What's the sign-off process? Again, map that out and discuss it and take the team through it from ideation through to production or delivery. Finally, your tools. What are your best tools for this? Does everyone have access to Zoom? Does everyone have access to Trello or to Jira or whatever it might be? What best works for you as a team? Discuss, refine, and then come to some conclusions about which tools best suit your team. Finally, your roles and responsibilities. We know that if roles and responsibilities aren't defined, then that can really cause problems when it comes to sign off or an understanding of who does what and when. If there isn't one clear product owner, for example, that can mean that actually you've got multiple decision makers, which never ends well. So have that conversation. Try to define what people's roles and responsibilities are and why. To do this, we'd suggest something very simple, like a grid layout like this, within another collaboration tool as Mural or Miro, and define the roles within the team. So on this particular occasion, there's a product owner, a scrum master, developer, product analyst, delivery lead, and solution architect. And obviously, your team, it could be different. But the basis of this is to give everyone that conversation piece, to write their expectations of the role in the column, and then to bring it back and everyone discuss what that means. And it could be there's some differential here. There could be that there's some crossover. But the idea is to get to that single point of ownership from each role and to understand what others' roles and responsibilities are and what their expectations are. And remember, this doesn't need to be set in stone. This can be iterative and actually can be refined as you go through and you work on the project. So what are the next steps? As I mentioned, this is a 2-hour session. Some teams might need more, they might need less. We would always recommend at least 2 hours. And actually, in those 2 hours, if you get everything we've discussed previously done, that's a great starting point. But you might still need to think about your team charter, deciding what good looks like. You really refine your definitions of ready and definition of done. So you might need some extra sessions on top. It's up to you as a team to define that and to work towards that. So if you want to learn more about setting up a new team, there's plenty of useful tools for setup session. As I mentioned previously, Miro and Mural, Zoom, Ideas Board, Jamboard, it's never ending. But work out what's good for you and what's good for your team, and that everyone can get access to that. There's plenty of further reading as well that I can sort of recommend for you that we have here, including Atlassian, Team Playbook, Team Building Activities, stuff from Mike Cohen and Mountain Goat Software about Agile project kickoff meetings, all the way through some stuff that we've done as an Agile team about the importance of setting up a team charter, which will help you going forward to set up a team charter after you've done your 2-hour initial session. So thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to understand a bit more of, please feel free to contact us. I hope you found it useful this session. And in the meantime, as I say, the email address is here, hello@anddigital.and.digital. And thank you for your time.